Hello, everyone, and welcome to PAX Area Gaming. My name is Reg, and we're going to continue our journey through Chapter 4. We're at the temple entrance. And we're going to make our way through these various Taoist mushroom-type creatures. So we're out of the Hollow, and we're formally in the Temple of the Yellow Flowers area of the game. There is a secret area we're going to be covering, but a little bit later. Let's take out these Taoist mushroom creatures first. Mushrooms, I'm not sure what they are. So there are quite a few of them in this area. And most of them are asleep, so you can actually get the jump on them. If you get close to them, they'll wake up, but you can usually one-shot them. The ones that are awake won't actually see you until you get pretty close to them. And they're poison-based. They don't really... Well, I guess they could do damage if you sort of stand still and let them hit you, but they're easy enough to dodge. And after their sort of moveset, they seem to need a little bit of rest. And while they're sort of recovering, you can actually hit them again. We're going to take this meditation point. And then we're going to take out the rest of these creatures. I guess they're formerly called worm practitioners. And some of them are a little bit hard to see, but they're lying down. There's 1, 2, 3 over here. There's one here. There's one in a corner, and there's one lying down right there. Like I said, they usually fall down. There's another one, and this one are up on the right side, sleeping. You can easily take him out. And there's the one standing, and this one sleeping right near him. above is a stronger version of the tiger creature that we saw earlier. He is a spirit that you could absorb. Move. If you already have a spirit, you will get will instead of anything else. And through these doors is our old friend, the guy that enhanced the gourd that we had.
暗识琴中去，何劳弦上音？情啊爱啊，不过是白云苍狗，终归都会结满蛛网。
You get an item or an ingredient from him called Awaken Wineworm to add to your gourd.
侯兄弟，破镜难重圆，你有空劝劝那位朱长老，可别陷得太深。 本是女中仙，思凡度九天。
Glowing in one of the
作茧复洞中。
one of the kegs behind him. I guess they're called kegs. I'm not sure what they're called.
本是女中仙，思凡堕九天。作茧复洞中，人间又一年。
Okay, so that's all there is on this side. So we're going to go back through this area as we've taken everybody out, and we're going to head to the left side of the door that we came directly in from the shrine area. Grab this wisp. When we came in, we came to the right-hand side where all of these guys were, and now we're going to go the opposite way, continuing to follow a blood trail. If you can see the blood trail, it's there. This is the door that we came. Okay, so the door that we came through is off to the left, but we're going to go up here. We're going to grab a chest. Off this one guy. And then we're going to any plants that you see you can grab as well. They're not that many, maybe one. It's easy to miss some of these chests because the enemy is not going to follow you, he's not going to attack you. So unless you get near the chest, the enemy won't awaken, and if you don't look over there, you won't see it. So we're going to loop around the little pond and we go past the door that we came in to come into this area. And follow the blood trail, and this left side leads to a new area. There are a couple enemies here. And there's a poison guy off to, there are two poison guys, but one off to the right-hand side of the stairwell. And then there's one that should be walking towards us. Yeah. And they're pretty passive until you get really close to them. I don't think there's any loot. Through those doors is another area. Figured we should grab the shrine first, just in case we end up dying. This is the Court of Illumination. This was the area I was thinking about. So from this area, you can go in multiple directions. One will lead you directly to the boss fight. One will lead you to the path that we should be taking. One will lead back to where we came from. And that's where we just came from. So now that we took these guys out to get the shrine, but really we need to go in the opposite direction. So let's take them out again. And there's one of those snake-neck tiger enemies over in the corner. He doesn't seem too worried about us. You can get a couple of good hits on him, but you want to make sure that you immobilize him to avoid getting sort of stuck on a wall while you're trying to fight him. And grab this wisp. Back up here, and then go through that little gate here. So when we came up, we turned left to run past those guys to get to the shrine. This time we're going right. There's going to be a chest as well. I'm going to take him out first. And then I grab this chest. And then we're going to work our way up a series of stairs to get to a boss. And when we're coming back from this area where we deal with the boss, we're going to take on another boss that's going to lead us to the secret area of Chapter 4. Which is a little bit longer than I thought it would be, the secret area. Okay, so we're going to continue to work our way up these steps. And off to this side is where another mini-boss is and access to the secret area. But before we do any of that, we're going to go forward and fight a mini-boss. And in the first playthrough, the item that you receive from defeating the mini-boss is actually pretty good. It's a drink for your gourd that's really good. It's definitely worth finding this path and getting it. Obviously, you can miss all of this if you don't explore fully. That item will be sitting on that little table. And the boss is called the Fungi Woman. You faced these fungi creatures before, but the Fungi Woman is a little stronger than all the other ones that you faced up to. So unleashing the Pluck of Many on them is a good idea, because it'll really go away her health. If you're fighting her alone, she'll fly around quite a bit and will throw sort of poison at you. You can still defeat her without Pluck of Many. You know, if you think you're going to have trouble with the next boss because there is not a another shrine before you get to the next boss, next mini boss, the secret area, then you may want to go back just to recharge. You can use your item to walk back to the last shrine, give you the ability to recharge, and run back here and hang that left at the little point that I showed earlier. If you don't think you need to recharge, then you would simply retrace your tracks back to where you came from and go off to the right side where you saw the little slope. Of note, this is an enemy that we fought before. We fought this enemy in the Hollow. He only has 2 arms. I thought when we defeated him, he had 3 arms left. He has 2 extra arms, is what I mean. The actions for. He's pretty fast. He has I guess a minor second phase. Okay, so we knocked one of his extra arms off. I think when we knock the second extra arm off, he goes into the second phase. Yeah. Nope. He still has it. Okay. Now he doesn't have it. So now he moves into his second phase.
无用的直接去了，是我上了那老道士的当。刚才的毒斗不作数，想知如何克那魔君，就与我堂堂正正打一场。
And this should be the last time we see the Venom Taoist. But yes, he does regain all of his health for this phase of the fight. So, like I said earlier, if you needed to recharge fully, then, walk back to the shrine, recharge, and then come back to the fight with all of your resources. It's a fight that requires lots of patience. He can't one-shot you, but he can two-shot you if you're in the first playthrough. Especially if you get hit with one of those combos. Yeah, while you're your hits do damage to him. He's okay with absorbing those hits and continuing his chain combo, which is kind of interesting. And some of the enemies will get disrupted if you hit them. This one doesn't seem to get disrupted, but will take damage. So if you guys want to trade, you know, and you have the resources, you're likely to win the battle. This is the pathway to the secret area of the game of Chapter 4. Purple Cloud Mountain is the secret area. Now, you can go away, complete the rest of the chapter, and then come back to this. But the boss, the chapter boss, at the end, you don't need, but you should get an item in the secret area to help you fight the chapter boss. That's the purpose of this particular secret area. Can you beat that boss without it? Yeah, I've seen people do it, but it's a much longer fight. It's a change from the last area. This looks like they're in a different season. It looks like autumn in this area versus the place where we were, which was luscious green, foresty type area in the mountain. This looks like October in Montreal. There are several bosses in this part of the game. And the chapter boss is back in the non-secret area, so you don't have to worry about the chapter ending here. It won't. There are a number of new enemy types. Let's see, 1, 2. There is 2 enemy types, I guess. I'll point them out. This snake guy lady is asking us with helping her out.
我本是个魏王人，来此祭悼亡夫，你莫怪罪。我与夫君本住在山顶的庄子里，忽地一日，不知哪处杀来的一伙虫妖，定要强占此地。庄子里人死的死，逃的逃，独留了我一个。我原想回那庄子里寻些亡夫的遗物，可那伙虫妖中有个领头的，号毒敌大王，他的倒马毒甚是厉害。
The other thing to note is if you manage to find the final boss of the secret area, you'll be locked out of the other 2 bosses. So you won't be able to go back and fight those 2 bosses. So it's important to, sort of follow a particular pathway before getting to the final boss of this secret area. And they're pretty easy to miss. I mean, the area is beautiful, but it's really easy with the branching paths to miss that.
You 要去后头的山里，那林间俱是些放毒的妖魔，你若擅入，必是有去无回。
You should be coming up on a shrine. Should be Valley of Blooms. Now what we're going to do, we're only going to take on 2 of the bosses. We won't take on 3. You can induce one of the bosses to help you fight the final boss of the secret area, which is what we want to do. But it will only happen once. If you die during that fight, he won't appear again. This is one of the new enemy types I talked about. There are a few of them in the game, and they only appear in the secret area, chapter 4. They don't appear anywhere else in the game. We kill this one pretty quick, but if they live a little bit longer, they produce little baby versions of themselves. They'll attack you. That one was a little bit easy to spot because he was a spirit that you could absorb. The other ones are a little bit more difficult to spot. There's several in this region. Of course, there are wisps. There are a couple of chests, and then there are a couple of the little containers that give you the item that you need to upgrade things like health, mana, stamina, stuff like that. But for as big as this area is, this open area, not a ton of stuff. There's another part of the game where it's a little bit more self-contained, where it's a little bit easier to get some of that stuff. I forgot these guys right here. I know a lot of these guys here. I guess there's a couple of them. Bounds of the deity abode, of the deity's abode. So up these steps is a boss that's sort of chilling on a roof, who you can fight. He's the one I'm going to actually skip. You can fight him if you go over and you break one of his wine pots. He'll get upset with you and will fight you. He's a very, very, very difficult guy to fight. He's poison based. He moves pretty quickly. He uses a lot of poison, and actually poisons the floor of the arena in certain parts of the fight. And I really did struggle with this guy in my first playthrough. I didn't really know that I could skip him and then he would appear and help me fight the last boss of this secret area until the second playthrough, which is really helpful because he actually poisons the boss, and he actually does pretty good damage if you just stand back and stay out of his way. He will hit you if you get close and try to help him out with that boss. But he will not become aggressive unless you break the little pots that he's telling you to stay away from. So there are 2 ways you can go. You can go off to the right, you can go off to the left. Left takes you up a little slope. The right takes you up a little slope. The left, I actually end up looping around. I don't think there's a lot of stuff in this area anyway. Okay, yeah, there's an enemy shooting at me from, I believe he's shooting at me from a bridge. That bridge. And there is a meditation point in this, not too far away. But we're going to take this guy out first. We're going to meditate for a few seconds. And this has one of those little items I referred to. You can't end up with multiples of certain items and certain curios in a game. I'm not quite sure why they would give you more than one. I guess perhaps they're stackable. I don't know. I've never used more than one of the same type of curios. But there are quite a few of them that you can get multiples of. Okay, there's this Petalfall Hamlet. Hammock. Petalfall Hamlet. Not. It's this area. This little area is a little bit more self-contained. There is a mini boss here. This is one of the three. Okay, so we fought. No, we didn't fight. We passed by the guy who was on the roof. This guy, we have to engage in a quest. And that quest will help you with the final item of this chapter. So you really should complete his quest. And then you'll come back at some point later and end up having to fight him.
小居士，你尖嘴缩腮，鸡首面黄，一副痨病鬼模样，莫不是也中了虫毒？这谷内生有一种异虫，名禽狼，生食其卵可功力大增。只是那幼虫一旦孵化，便将五脏六腑啃食殆尽，空留一具不死的躯壳。 我这些师兄师弟个个都不信邪，贪功冒进，见着便吃，如今多半药石无医了。小居士，你若有心，便带我了结他们。
So the armor worms that we fought earlier in the game produces eggs that his guys have been eating. And he wants you to find one. And they drop randomly from the guys that you will be fighting. So I guess technically you can get it early and then go back and give it to them, but then you won't explore the whole area and you won't find the shrine that leads to the final boss of this part of the game, the secret area. So as I mentioned, there are a number of chests in the game. Of course, there are plenty of wisps, and I believe there are a couple of those little other items that you can get. know there is a wisp down at the bottom of that ravine. We'll get it later. So we passed this little opening earlier. Now we're going to go through it and work our way through another section of the hamlet. There are a few of these little twisty pathways. They're worth exploring. So any of the areas that you can go into, you should explore. You're going to get some plants, some seeds, a couple of chests, and some wisps. And eventually you will find the sort of final area. But you're not going to go up there yet. You don't want to start that boss fight until you go back to the other guy. Grab this item. These guys sort of blend in with the background, so unless they're standing in front of you, they're not always easy to see. And there are also spider guys that are in the trees. Spider guy, so it's hiding out in the trees. It's difficult to spot, so okay, so we want to activate the shrine, but you don't necessarily want to rest, because if you do, all of the enemies will come back. So unless you absolutely need to, don't rest. Just activate the shrine. Continue through the area. That shrine, by the way, those steps lead to the final boss of the secret area. You don't want to take them on yet. So I think there's one more area here. There's a chest that's guarded by several enemies back here. The spider type, the tree hanging spider type, and that difficult. I guess there's more. I knew there was more than one. Okay, so you can take this guy out, and then you can access the chest. And there's nothing else in this little section. Okay, so you're gonna give him the item that he asked you to find.
好好好，正是他。
He's gonna munch it down.
这般妖物诡状异形，我得带回馆内好生琢磨一番。小居士，你我相识一场也是难得，不如再帮我一回，将猴头留下，我好与师傅交差。
Then he's going to become warming.
安心换得。
For mini boss, he's actually relatively easy.
学生， 马跳剑。
But of course, bosses that are this easy usually have
这般
another
人
phase.
真好，真好。由你来做我蜕变飞升的头份血石，再好。
Okay, like the enemies in this chapter, he's going to be poison based. He has the same move set as the other ones of these guys that we, I guess they're armor worm practitioners that we, the exact same move set. I think he's just a little bit bigger than the others. If you have poison resistance, you'll do better. So it won't eat away at your health the way it would if you didn't have any resistances to the poison bane. His name was Taoist Me.
这些凡夫俗子不自量力，此番下场都是咎由自取。你不一样，这天地间的毒物，轻易要不了你的性命。这东西好生收着，善加运用。 妙处无穷，快去救他吧！困在那里，想必生不如死。从小看他长大，我下不去手。
So this will allow you to turn into one of those Taoist practitioners as a transformation, which makes you immune to poison. I'm not sure how useful that is, because there are soaks that'll make you somewhat immune, and of course you can increase your poison resistance as one of the Bane resistances, so I'm not sure. So we wanted to come back here because there was nothing else for us to do. We want to make sure we have all of our resources. And when we climb these steps, the final boss of the secret area will be here. This boss is a Yaguai king whose name is Destined One. And my first playthrough, I died a number of times. Not in the first phase of the fight, the second phase of the fight. He telegraphs his moves quite a bit. And as you can see, he starts out with like 20% of his health, or 25% of his health gone. I don't really know why that is. But there's a scorpion guy who we saw earlier. He's a little bit like the rock guy's fight in chapter 2. If one manages to kill the other one, then you only have to take out one, but you get the benefit of having, you get the credit for killing both. And because he uses poison, he actually does quite a bit of damage. He's pretty quick, moves around, so if you were fighting him one-on-one, where he was protecting his wine, he's just such a difficult fight. I mean, amazingly difficult fight. So he's doing pretty good damage in this one. Because even if he loses the fight, I mean, you only have so much to do to go the rest of the way. Okay, so Scorpion guy is dead. And Duskvale is a little bit ticked off. His second phase is a little bit more difficult than his first phase because of some added AoE things that he does. I mean, this one's in the first phase, he just sort of flies at you, throws some things at you. He doesn't have an AoE attack. Yes, in the second phase, he gets a full health bar back. Which might, no, that was Dupas. Which might be another reason to let the Scorpion King sort of fight him, so you can conserve some of your resources. Yeah, he can be stunned, but it's just difficult to get a stun in on him. He still has the same stomping moves as he did in the first phase. So stun locked me with those 2 moves, and I couldn't get out of the way of the 3rd. So I died. And in the second time fighting him, as I mentioned before, you'll notice the Scorpion King does not appear. So you're really on your own. The first phase is not all that difficult. I mean, if he jumps around, he usually falls down for a few seconds. You get a hit in on him. Don't miss like I just did. It's really, if you just dodge and chip away his health, you'll eventually get him to the next phase. One strategy is when you enter the arena, he's going to do a sliding kick at you, and you can just let him do that, but he's going to miss if you dodge at the right time, and then you can get some hits in. Like that kind of kick. And he'll fall down for a little while, and you can just hit him. But if you can just avoid his stomps, you'll always be able to get some hits in on him. These are easy, the little spikes are easy to avoid. Staying under him or as close to his legs as you can stay is probably the best bet. If you're constantly moving, most of his stomps will miss you. Focus points and missing. Okay, this will send him into the second phase. In the second phase of the fight, you're always on your own. So even if the Scorpion King lives through part of the first phase, when this red thing happens, he usually dies. So he always opens by throwing that at you, which is easily dodgeable. Oops. He's got me that time. Wow. The little spade thing that he does. So I switched from the needle to the fan because it seems to stop him from doing anything. The only problem is to keep him close enough to him to do damage while he's sort of stun locked. The mini to help out, which helps out a great deal. Good job. Alright, this fight is going much better. Yeah, so he has this sword that he magics into existence, and he slams it into the ground, and it causes the ground to... The best way to handle that is to sort of back up. Yes, he's staying close to him doesn't allow him to do some of his moves. Missed with the Wandering White. The Stone Monkey. I guess one of the benefits of the Stone Monkey is that he will absorb a lot of damage, and this should be a way for me not to take as much damage as I'm taking, because he has a good moveset to do different things, but I usually only go for the simple attack and the strong attack instead of using the special attack, which would be smarter. But at least this gets Dust Veil's health down quite a bit. Stone Monkey is incredibly helpful in this one. You only get him after a complete playthrough the first time. If you don't have Stone Monkey, you can use Red Tides, which is also pretty good.
这些年未得相见，你已经被他们害成了这副模样。 我自骊山而来，在此调查谷中之事。我并非有意瞒你，确实有些难处。我同他母亲相识一场，下不去手，这才引你来此。
So Hong Yi will come back and give you the item that you need for the final boss of Chapter 4.
我到此物早已落入那多目怪
The
手中，
Weaver's Needle
竟被
Vessel.
你寻得了。
I already had this, so
或许这就是机缘吧。
but that's the reward you get for defeating that
既
particular
然如
Yaguai
此
King.
我便帮你将此
And it's
物恢
really
复神
effective
力，
against
全做我的
the
答
chapter
谢
boss.
之业了。
if you make sure you use it at the right time. You'll also get a special soak called the Double Combed Rooster Blood Soak, and you'll get some materials that will allow you to
不过是几缕天上吹下的
complete
丝线，
the Iron
连它
Tough
通
Armor
向
Set
何处，
and the
是
Gold
福
Long
是祸
Staff.
也不知道。为何
I think I have every staff in
都
the
这
game,
么
but I
着
don't
往
think
上
I
爬呢？
updated all of the armor sets. Maybe by now I have. Okay, so this will send you back to the area where you fought the Venom Taoist. That was where the secret area was. And now we can go ahead and complete the remainder of Chapter 4. Okay, so we're going to warp back to the Court of Illumination, because that's the easiest way to do. And before we go through to deal with the boss, we're going to take the other direction. I think I mentioned to you earlier that the final seal that you need is at the end of this chapter. So we're gonna do that. But before we do that, we're gonna take out any enemies that we see in the area. So we're gonna take out these twins. I don't don't really think they're twins, but they look alike. I guess they're wearing the same mask. And we're going to scope this area out. For a chest. That's the only thing that's over here. And then we're going to go back down and remove the seal. And in so doing, the Supreme Inspector will appear. He's a pretty tough fight. In the first playthrough. This playthrough, he's not so tough. Once you get him down to a certain health level, this guy will appear. In the third playthrough, it only took a couple of hits for me to get him to that point. In the first playthrough, it was like a 5-minute fight before I got him to that point. Those two are members of the Celestial Court. Actually, most of the people... No, that's not true. I think most of the people he's run into are members of the Celestial Court. That's not true. Later in the game, that's true. Not now. Okay. Now that that's done, we're going to grab this item, a Celestial Nonary Pill. It will increase your stamina, which for us doesn't do anything. And then we're going to head back to the boss arena, but I need to equip the item that I got. Right? Because none of the other items or none of those other vessels will actually help you in this fight. The needle vessel is the only one that will help. So the reason I'm doing this is because if you equip a needle vessel without doing this, it won't be ready to use at the start of the fight. And since we're here, we may as well use any of the sparks that we have. And as you can see, I'm pretty close to maxing everything out. I definitely don't think you can max everything out with just 2 playthroughs. There's just not enough. Even if you go through all of the side quests, which I've done twice, you wouldn't get enough to max everything out. So when you walk into the boss arena, it's going to immediately sort of take you to this cutscene. But in this boss arena, there's a left side and a right side that you should explore to get some other items, which we can't do unless we die in the fight and have to come back. If we don't die in the fight, we can... The end of the fight will trigger the end of the chapter, so you'll have to wait until you get into chapter 5 in order to come back to chapter 4.
你救伤未好，
And then it takes, what, all of 2 minutes to collect those 2 items.
放心，我替你打点。师妹，我的那样东西
This
可
is
还在
Violet,
你身上。
Violet Spider's brother. This is very nice to her.
师妹啊，你虽样样不济，能把天命人引来这里，也算功德一件。但我借你的东西，得先还回来。
Her daughters are going to defend their mom, which is appropriate.
尔等小辈，说还能明白我的苦心。只要再吞噬掉天命人的其余根器，我便可不再受昆仑摆布。师妹，你的仇我自然
He
会
is
报。
the 100-eyed Taoist master. And you see where he got that name from a little bit later in the fight. Interestingly, he's lightning-based, not poison-based. Just to throw a little wrinkle in the mix.
来今日，我不回报，自是你等昏头，快与我一同了结他！
I tried to help the sisters out. It's very difficult to get close to him. He's moving around with all of them. And you can take damage. As you can see, I'm not doing a whole heck of a lot of damage to him, and neither are the sisters. You finally got a good hit in him. Yep. He can be stunned. And he hits pretty hard. And I hate this part of the fight because it's pretty annoying. He will dive beneath the ground, pop up at any point. I think the key is just run around until he's done with this particular phase of the fight. He apparently spits poison as well as toss lightning from the sword. A lot of his attacks are easy to dodge. He telegraphs them pretty well. Yeah, missed that one. Okay. Got a little bit too cocky. Yeah, staying too far away from him is not really helpful for me in this fight. Gotcha. Yeah, you want to get away when he does that. So when he gets into this phase, it's when you use the needle and it knocks him out of the phase. He's much easier to deal with in this phase than he is in that other phase. His rule set changes slightly. You really should still remain aggressive in the fight. When he does the raise the ground thing, you'll have an opportunity to get a couple hits in if you're close to him. It's too far. I know that if I have to, I can always use the stone monkey. Yep. His health is low enough, and it gives me some free hits. If I can get close enough. A couple of freebies. Gotcha. It's kind of close. His poor sister. He is one of the more difficult bosses to fight. Seems like he has some regrets. Like a typical guy, he's not going to express them.
你还是和那时一样笨呐。
Yeah, she got one good little last cut in.
母亲，母亲！
You deserved it. Oh. And we now have our 4th relic. Yeah, you have Zubaji, that's him, and his backstory.
月光在初见的角落，
月光在惜别的城楼，
思念是眉间的痒。
愿念念望相思，寻常最长久。
汹涌如江流，
忐忑似轻舟，有你相伴，这一路多么多么自由。云卷
云舒
风起，
一周，
从立春到立秋，
在那一刻我爱上你的所有。忘了是心田的沟，
记得是老饕的酒，
知音是相拥无言。
愿天黑花当你，总归说不够。
是那如江流，
宁静似轻舟，有你相伴，这一路多么多么无忧。晚上
朝露
昙花
苍过，
黑夜
也不过白昼。
听错了风，又怎么会有以后？
飘渺似轻舟，
清凉如蒸馏，
你不放手这一路，可怜我有多久？
安心
我真爱中绽放或者不是，有缘无分，下一世莫回眸。
真情
难留
假意
未够，
相守，
今生有求。
下一世相遇，情结在
And that's the monk from Journey to the West, Sun Wukong, and the other guy. And he always went back to them because he was on their journey. And that was what Violet Queen was referring to earlier in the chapter. And what Baji was referring to when he was under the
却还是个笨
spell
货。
of the Queen.
这番不但伤了悟能与他的小情人，还毁了人家的大阵，罪过，罪过！ 凡人也好，神仙也罢，都想着戒断过往，重启炉灶。可命运啊，就像爱人的舌头，嘴里一套，心里一套，哪怕亲口尝到，也不知到底是想要还是不想要。
Alright, we have our relic and some materials. And we're going to go back to, well, I'll show you what the relic is. So I unlock the third one, the third element of that particular relic. I'm unlocking the third element of that particular relic. So it's maxed out. In the first playthrough, I think I may have switched a couple of times, depending on the need or the boss you're fighting. And when I mentioned earlier, when we started this section, when we enter the boss arena, it takes us directly to the boss fight, or to the sort of animated opening to the boss fight. So if you go left and you follow this little trail, the only way you can get this is to die during the fight, and when you respawn at the shrine, you can come here and it won't trigger the boss fight. Or do what I'm doing now, which is the boss fight is complete. You know, at the end of that boss fight and at the end of that animation, it triggers the beginning of chapter 5. So I've edited out for continuity's sake. It makes sense to put that beginning part in the next video. I hadn't been doing that, but looking back, I'm like, it doesn't make sense to show that at the end of chapter 4. May as well show it at the beginning of chapter 5, which is what we'll do. So we collected that, and then we go off to the opposite side, and we take out these guys. You grab this chest, and that's it. That's really it for chapter 4. There's now absolutely no reason to come back to chapter 4. Unless, of course, you have to during the DLC. And so when we come back next time, we can go ahead and start up with chapter 5 without having to go back in time or back in a previous chapter. Just check and make sure there's nothing out there. I'm pretty sure there's nothing over there. That's where we fought the boss. And so now we can go back, or at least we will go back next time. Right? So I'm not going to start it now. But thank you guys for joining me on this journey. And I will see you guys in the next chapter. When we come back, we'll be at chapter 5. Thank you very much. Please comment. Hope you like this video. And please subscribe to the channel. New content every Tuesday and Friday.